back with Bobby and JJ Radio. We have the great Charles Vethan of the Vethan Law Firm here. Answer your questions. We're getting free legal advice. I'm trying to figure out how I can break up with Bobby. So talk to us about agreements.
Okay, the thing that a lot of people don't follow through on is a partnership agreement or a company agreement, right?
Okay.
So basically you say, well, why do I need an agreement? The problem is when the business grows,
Right.
just like you guys have different niches. I mean, you guys do stuff together really
English, Spanish speaking.
well. And some stuff you do very well separately.
Sure.
When a business grows, that specialization comes into play. So you've got to decide, what are we going to do? Who's going to do what?
Mm-hmm.
Typically it breaks down as to you're going to have some folks who do sales, but in operations. Marketing, they're going to have one guy who wants to go to all the marketing events, one guy who does not.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have one guy who's a person who manages the money and keeps the books and records, also handles employee issues. How are you going to split that up?
Right.
Now, what happens if the company is set to go in two different directions? If you haven't talked about that ahead of time, you're going to get in trouble.
I think that's where me and Bobby are. I mean, I do a lot of operations. Bobby does a lot of sales. He's way better at it than I am.
I play basketball. He's a mariachi singer.
Right.
I mean, we do different
We
things.
have different talents, and they come to light every time there's a quinceañera. What if something happens to one of the partners? Let's say Bobby, in one of his death-defying, he had a bike one time, but what if one of us dies? Preferably Bobby.
Well, look, they're the big D's in a company, right? So death is one. Divorce, disability,
Duncan?
Tim Duncan.
divestiture, Duncan, whatever.
So it's divorce, death, disability.
Yeah, divestiture of your interest.
Say that
and
one more time.
divestiture. Something is happening to what you own. So someone is either buying it or you're trying to sell it, and the other partners are going, oh, wait a second.
I'm not ready.
You're selling it to who? And we're going to be having, Joe Blow at the company table, and I don't even know this person. What are you doing? Also, the other issue that you have here is in the company agreements, they don't address this. What does happen? I mean, if you're happily married, great, God bless you. But if something should happen, Texas is the community property state.
Mm-hmm.
So the largest asset of the community may be the business.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you've got a jilted spouse. And his or her spouse is the business owner. Guess
Right.
what? A family law judge has jurisdiction over your company, and your business partner is sitting there and says, what the heck is going on?
Sure.
Okay, so how does a company control that liability? The other thing we're talking about, the other big D is duty. Okay, so we've got
one person just checks out.
Well, it's not even just checks out, but there are certain things that you've got to do. There are obligations you owe the company under Texas law. You've got to put the company interest ahead of yours. Okay, now what happens if you've got related businesses, right? So this is not the only business you're involved in. You've got to let everyone know, hey, look, I can get into a competing venture and that's okay. You can't do it under the table. Otherwise, you wind up in court. So all these things have to be established in a company agreement. We always tell folks, look, you don't need to make this decision sitting at our office. Go to dinner, sit down, talk about this. We give them a list of topics to discuss. And when they come in, we can say, what is your agreement? And there is no standard agreement. Mm-hmm. That's the other issue that people have is they'll say, well, let's find something on the internet and that'll be the deal. So here's the problem. You're in court. And you're in this huge fight.
Sure.
And you have the lawyer from the other side going through the agreement and says, well, why'd you put this clause in there? And they go, I don't know. I cut and pasted something. What does it mean? So,
Right.
you've gone from a $100,000 business to a $10 million business.
Sure.
That's not a good place to be.
And so, me and Bobby usually sell stuff with rock, paper, scissors. I guess that's not the best way to do it. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Charles Vethan of the Vethan Law Firm. He's telling us a bunch of stuff of what you should do if you're a business owner. We're on the topic of agreements, which is starting to scare me a little bit, actually. But so what are some other professionals besides yourself that needs to be involved in these situations?
There are three pillars of any successful company, right? So the first is obviously legal.
Yeah.
You need accounting and you need financial
Notice
planning.
You put that first? You put that one first. That's
Well,
weird.
I'm here.
I got you.
If you ask a barber if you need a haircut, what are you going to get?
Yeah.
But so the point is that you need those three professionals, CPAs, financial planning, and legal, to make a successful company safe and to make a successful company get to the next level.
Gotcha. And so why, besides the legal, why are the other professionals so important in your opinion?
Well, I know Raphael's joining us today, and that's super important.
Yeah.
But one of the things we look at is something called key man insurance. So we talked about
Key
death.
man policy.
A
Yeah.
key man
have
policy.
We have that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was scared of Bobby dying.
Well, it's not just that, but so what happens with that key man policy? Who's the beneficiary? Is it the company? Is it whatever company you own, or is it your family?
It wasn't it like a small community church?
No.
No.
It wasn't. It was totally me.
Okay.
And I was actually scared because the day we got all that hail, this superhero got on my roof to cover up the skylight, and I was like, telling my wife, I was like, if this dude dies at my joint, there's no way we're gonna cash in on that thing. I thought it was going to be null and
We could have
void.
faked it. We could have split it.
Well, you can, but here's the deal: it's not the money, right? It shouldn't be the money at that point, because what you care about is a stock. Because let's say,
Like my vested interest in Bobby, you mean?
no. If you have a company together, whatever interest that you have, if you don't have an agreement to dictate what happens when you die,
Right.
that goes to that person's estate. So all of a sudden, let's say they have 15-year-old kids and a wife who doesn't like you, or a husband that doesn't like you, whatever
Right.
it is. Guess what? They get their shares, and they say, I just inherited my deceased spouse's interest in the company, and I get a right to sit at the management table.
That was, imagine Trey.
Couldn't I just change the name of the business and doing it under a different name?
No, you can't, because once you do that, then the spouse will say, you've just transferred the assets of the business out, and I get to sue you for that.
Awesome. So for more information about this crazy web of businesses and agreements and limited liability companies and corporations and all that, you need to talk to Charles. It seems like at 210-824-2220. Again, that's 824-2220 for a free phone consultation as a business owner, or email him at info@vethanlaw.com, or check out his website, vethanlaw.com.